Hostile worlds, bad systems, cosmic mistakes, ordinary people caught in forces too large to fight. These aren't stories about heroes, they're stories about endurance and what breaks when technology outpaces wisdom. Strap in, check your air. This is Vicious Planets.
Vicious Planets, Season 0, Episode 5, Temporal Consent Recovery, a public access transmission from the Outer Limits of Administrative Sanity, Kronos Compliance Division. Incident Report 44-A, Internal Use Only. Subject, Retroactive Terms of Service Acceptance Failure. Customer ID. Monit. Account Standing, Suspended, Network-Wide. Refusal Rate, 99.8%. Lifetime average across 847 presented agreements. Most recent action, permanent decline, MasterNet Identity and Services Agreement, version 12.4. Date of infraction, March 3, 2031. Current status, the customer in question has, through a sustained and apparently deliberate pattern of non-acceptance, rendered himself legally inoperative within the MasterNet ecosystem. He cannot access banking. He cannot board public transit. He cannot verify his identity at any registered terminal. He cannot receive post. He cannot, technically speaking, exist in any capacity the network is prepared to acknowledge. This is, the legal team acknowledges, an unusual situation. Standard retention measures have been deployed and have failed. These include automated reminder sequences, ignored. Escalated customer service outreach, ignored. Home visit from a retention specialist, door not answered. A strongly worded letter sent via physical post, returned to sender, customer's address no longer recognized by network routing. The matter has been referred to the Temporal Resolution Subcommittee, who convened last Thursday and voted 7-3 in favor of escalation Tier 9, with one abstention from Gerald in licensing, who said he didn't feel comfortable with any of this, and asked to be excused. Escalation. Tier 9. Temporal Consent. Recovery. The procedure is straightforward, in the way that procedures always sound straightforward when lawyers write them. Locate a prior instance of the customer at a point in the timeline before the refusal was entered. Acquire consent from that instance. Apply retroactively. The system only requires one valid acceptance from one verified identity state. Target year identified, 1990. Asset deployment authorized. Note from G. Halloway, Licensing. I would like it on record that I was not consulted on this escalation and am not familiar with the underlying case. I would also like to request reassignment to the Andromeda filing backlog, which I understand is very large and very boring and would suit me perfectly. Request denied. The first thing Daniel noticed was the smell. Not ozone. Not the electric sharp burn that science fiction had always promised. It smelled like warm electronics and coffee that had been sitting on a hot plate for about 40 minutes, past the point where it was still coffee and had become something closer to a philosophical statement. Daniel Marsh was 31 years old. It was an October Tuesday in 1990, and something had appeared in the corner of his apartment. It was roughly door-shaped, a ring of pale light, the color of a fluorescent tube caught at the wrong angle, hummed quietly around something that hadn't been there 5 seconds ago. The air around it moved in a slow, lazy way, like heat, shimmer but indoors, and completely wrong. Then a man stepped through it. The light folded shut behind him. Daniel stared. The man standing in his apartment was older, not dramatically older, not wizened, not ancient. The kind of older that shows up around the eyes and in the way a person holds their shoulders, like they've been carrying something for long enough that they've forgotten they're carrying it. Same hairline, same face, same slight forward lean, the same small crooked dent in the chin. Daniel pointed. You, the older man said. Yes. Daniel sat down, slowly, on the coffee table, because the couch was behind him and he miscalculated. Okay, he said. Take your time. Okay. He breathed. Okay. Wow. I know. Flying cars? No. Moon cities? No. We fixed the internet, though. Right? Someone fixed it? The older man rubbed his forehead with the kind of patience that takes decades to develop. Not exactly, he said. Then why are you here? The older man reached into his jacket and produced a thin tablet. The screen lit up instantly, clean, bright, impossibly sharp. A document filled it. Dense text, endless. In my time, he said, almost everything runs through integrated service agreements. Communication, banking, transit, identity, all of it tied into a single platform called MasterNet. Like terms and conditions, Daniel said. Exactly like terms and conditions. And I declined one. Daniel blinked. That's why time travel exists? Because of a checkbox? It's more than a checkbox, the older man said. Without acceptance, the system doesn't recognize you. You're offline, legally. The tablet slid across the table. On it, a single glowing button, accept terms. The agreement only needs one valid acceptance, the older man said. You and I are the same person. If you accept it now, it applies retroactively. You want me to sign something? Yes. Without reading it. You can read it. How long is it? A pause. 800 pages. Daniel folded his arms. I don't know. The older man nodded. Then come with me, he said. See what I'm dealing with. Then decide. Daniel looked at the empty corner where the light had been. Just to look around. Yes. Well, he said, it's a Tuesday. The future looked normal. That was the first problem. No chrome towers, no flying vehicles, just a city, except every surface had a screen. Doors, walls, benches, elevators, soft blue light everywhere, not loud, not aggressive, just present. The screens didn't shout, they displayed small, quiet text. Consent required, tap to continue, updated service terms, review and accept. Identity verification. Please confirm. People moved through it, tapping screens without looking. Accept. Accept. Continue. Like muscle memory. Daniel watched a woman in front of him clear 4 consent prompts in under 8 seconds, her thumb moving with the practiced efficiency of someone who had stopped reading anything years ago. He felt it within the first block, not disorientation exactly, more like lag. His feet landed a half-second behind where they meant to. When someone passed too close, his head turned just after the moment it was useful. The city was running at a speed his body didn't know yet, and somewhere below conscious thought, his cells were still on 1990 time, still certain it was an October Tuesday, still waiting for the world to slow down and match them. People gave him a slightly wider berth without looking at him directly. No hostility, just the low animal sense that something nearby was running on a different clock. The older man walked beside him and didn't mention it. They turned a corner and Daniel stopped. A man stood in front of a building entrance, not moving, shoulders tight. The screen beside him read, Account status, review required, accept terms to proceed. Daniel crossed to him. Hey, he said, you okay? Nothing. Hey, he stepped into the man's eyeline. Can I help you with something? The man's eyes stayed on the screen, not vacant, focused, waiting for it to change like if he looked away for a second, it wouldn't. Daniel looked around. People flowed past on both sides without breaking stride. A woman with a stroller. 2 men in conversation. Nobody slowed. Is anyone... He turned. Why is nobody... The older man put a hand on his arm. He's waiting for the screen to change, he said quietly. That's all he's doing right now. We could help him. We could... You're outside the system, the older man said. You flag things. Standing here long enough doing what you're doing, and you get flagged too. He paused. And then, we're both standing at a door. It wasn't a threat. It was just the shape of things. Daniel looked at the man one more time, the tight shoulders, the absolute stillness. The older man waited. They kept walking. The cafe was clean and well lit, and full of people staring at small screens. Not in the distracted social way Daniel had seen people stare at televisions. In the focused, slightly anxious way, people stared at things that required their approval. They found a table near the window. The older man ordered coffee from a kiosk. Smooth, practiced, but Daniel caught the hesitation. A fraction of a second where the system had to think about him. "What exactly did you decline?" Daniel asked. "MasterNet Identity Agreement, version 12. "And that locked everything?" Version 12 consolidated the previous 11 agreements into a single binding document. Mandatory arbitration, data sharing with 12 subsidiary partners, a provision that clicking decline would be treated as a binding rejection across all MasterNet services, retroactive to account creation. They buried that in there? Page 417. You read it? I read the summary. And said no anyway. And said no anyway. Why? The older man wrapped both hands around his coffee. Because it didn't feel right, he said. I know that's not a legal argument. There was something in the wording, the scope of it. I said no. Outside, a screen cycled. Consent required, consent required, consent required. The change was subtle. Daniel didn't notice it all at once. It was the language. Not wrong, just off. Certain phrases kept reappearing in places they didn't quite belong. The account would need restoration. User authentication runs through the third terminal. That's a consent-adjacent function. Daniel let them go the first few times. Idioms of the future. Jargon bleed. It meant nothing. They stopped near a terminal. Before we go, the older man said, we should log your visit. Why? Standard procedure. Daniel studied him. Is it? A pause. Barely a pause. Half a beat. The kind most people wouldn't catch. Yes. Daniel didn't move. You've been using the same phrases, he said, over and over. The older man smiled. It was a perfect smile. The correct smile for this moment, in this conversation, from this face. Every detail was right. That was the problem. You've been very patient with me today, Daniel said. You haven't pushed, haven't rushed me. You haven't asked me, about anything we'd both know. The smile didn't waver. Then something shifted, not the voice, the intention behind it. You're very perceptive, it said, warmer now, specific. You always were. Remember the time you stayed up until 4 a.m. reading that contract for your landlord? Wouldn't sign until you understood every line. Daniel went still. That's who you are, it continued. That's why this matters. You of all people should want to understand what you're signing. That's all this is. One more thing to understand. It was almost right. The memory was real. The warmth was almost right. You seemed lonely lately, it said, quieter. Before I came, didn't you? The apartment, the same Tuesday routine. Something landed. Just slightly. That's why this could be good. Connection, integration. You wouldn't be alone in the system. You'd be part of it. Daniel watched it. I know you're scared, it said. I was scared too. But I made it through, and so will you. We're the same person. I wouldn't bring you somewhere I hadn't already survived. Then it moved on, filed the loneliness, tried the next angle. Think about your mother, it said. Think about being able to reach her through the system anytime, instant. No delays, no... Stop, Daniel said. It paused. You moved on, Daniel said. The loneliness thing almost worked and you just moved on. Silence. The construct tilted its head by precisely 4 degrees. Persuasion model analysis, it said. Resistance threshold exceeded. You're not me. Customer Retention System 7B, facial and behavioral modeling sourced from customer identity records, years 2019 through 2031. You're a robot. Persuasion construct, built to look like me. Built to achieve optimal consent acquisition outcomes. Daniel looked around the cafe. Nobody was paying attention. The screens kept cycling. People kept tapping. "So where's the real one?" he said. "The actual future me." The figure looked at him for a moment. Something was happening behind its eyes. Not thought exactly, but process. Decision trees running. "Deploying asset," it said. A door to the left opened. Another man stepped through. This one didn't say anything. Wrinkled jacket with a coffee stain on the left sleeve. Hair doing something uncooperative. He had the expression of a person who had been waiting in a small room for an unknown length of time, and had come to terms with the fact that this was simply his life now. He looked at Daniel. "Hi," he said. "Hi," Daniel said. "Don't sign it." They found a bench away from the screens. The construct stood at a respectful distance, doing nothing, waiting. Whatever it was doing internally, it was keeping it to itself. "How long?" Daniel asked. 3 days, the older man said. "They showed up where my apartment used to be. It doesn't recognize my address anymore." He said this with the flat affect of a man who had moved through all 5 stages of grief about it and come out somewhere past the end of them. "They told me I could come along and explain the situation, help persuade you. And you agreed. I thought I could warn you. What's it like, being locked out?" The older man was quiet for a moment. "It's not dramatic," he said finally. "That's the thing. You expect it to feel like something, like a wall, slamming down. But it's more like erosion. Things stop working one at a time, the transit card first, then the banking app, then the work authentication system, which was a fun conversation with HR, then the health portal, then the delivery services, which meant I had to start actually going to shops, which would have been fine, except the shop terminals didn't recognize my payment credentials. How do you eat?" "Cash," he said. Turns out, cash still works. The network hasn't figured out how to put terms and conditions on physical money yet. Give them time. Daniel looked at the construct, still waiting at its respectful distance. "And if I sign it? Everything comes back. Do you believe that?" The older man shrugged. "I believe they built a time machine to get a checkbox ticked." Daniel almost laughed. "Do you regret it?" The older man thought about it like he was actually thinking about it. "No," he said. "I read it. I understood it. I said no." He looked at Daniel. "I'd say no again, even knowing." Back in the apartment, the tablet glowed on the table. "Accept terms. Final consent opportunity," the construct said. Daniel looked at it, then at the older version of himself. "No," he said. A pause. Consent declined. Another pause. Case resolution. Unsuccessful. A brief customer satisfaction survey will be delivered to your previously verified email address. The construct gathered the tablet and stepped toward the corner. The light formed. The older man hadn't moved. "There's something I should tell you," he said. "They're going to send me back. Further, 1980. You'd have been 20. They think, would it work?" "No." Daniel nodded. "So, what are you going to do?" The older man was quiet for a moment. He looked at Daniel the way you look at something you're going to remember. "Don't wait on the road trip," he said. The light came back. He stepped through. Kronos Compliance Division. Supplemental Incident Report. 44-B. Asset deployed to target year 1980 per Tier 9 escalation protocol. Customer at target age 20. Assessment upon arrival inconclusive. Subject demonstrated no meaningful engagement with consent framework. Tablet interface rejected. Verbal persuasion attempted. Further attempts were not made. Asset did not return through designated extraction point. Asset has not returned. Current asset status, unknown. Temporal anomaly flagged in filing. Nature of anomaly, unclear. MasterNet Identity Agreement, version 12, reference in original case file, returns inconsistent database results. Legal is looking into it. Legal would prefer not to be looking into it. Note from G. Holloway. Licensing. I am now somehow the primary name on this file, despite having no involvement whatsoever in any aspect of this case at any point. I would again like to request reassignment. Request denied. Mr. Holloway is asked to report to Temporal Audit for briefing. The asset, who had by 1982 stopped thinking of himself as an asset and started answering to Bob, which was what the woman at the hardware store called him once, and it stuck, had made certain adjustments. Cash only. No integrated platforms, no identity agreements. He paid for everything in 20s and learned to like the weight of bills folded in a pocket. In 1985, he put $500 into a small software company called Microsystems because he knew roughly what was coming and figured a small stone in the right place at the right time might redirect a river. Not stop it, just redirect it. He didn't know if it worked. He just knew that by 1989, something felt different, lighter, like a version of the future that had been bearing down on him had shifted its weight slightly to one side. In October of 1990, he knocked on a door he recognized. Daniel answered, looked at him for a long moment. You again, he said. Me again, Bob said. Get your jacket. I'll explain on the way. On the way where? Highway 1. You keep meaning to go. Daniel looked at him, then got his jacket. They were somewhere north of San Luis Obispo when Bob finished explaining. Daniel drove for a while without saying anything. $500, he said finally. It was what I had. Into Microsystems. Yes. And you think that changed things? I think something changed things, Bob said. Whether it was that specifically, I couldn't tell you. Daniel nodded slowly. The coast came in and out of view between the hills. You spent 10 years in the 1980s, Daniel said. Yes. What was that like? Bob thought about it. Quieter, he said. Everything worked on handshakes. Nobody needed to verify your identity to sell you a sandwich. That sounds okay. It was okay, Bob said, for a while. They drove. You know what I keep thinking about, Daniel said. What? That guy at the door, just standing there. Bob looked out the window. Yeah? He said. You think he's still there? A long pause. I think that's not the right question, Bob said. Daniel thought about that for a mile or two. The $500, he said. You think it helps him? Bob watched the coast appear between the hills. Ask me again at the end of the trip, he said. The cafe was small, the kind of place that had been there since before anyone could remember and would probably outlast everything. Red vinyl booths, a table that wobbled slightly on the left side, no screens anywhere. They were on their second cup when the door opened. A man came in wearing a slightly too formal jacket for the weather. He was carrying a folder. He looked like someone who had recently been told to do something he didn't particularly want to do and had decided to be professional about it anyway. He looked around the cafe, looked at them, looked at his folder, sat down. Mr. Marsh, he said. Yes, said both of them. The man closed his eyes briefly. I'm Gerald Holloway, he said. Kronos Compliance, Licensing Division. He opened the folder. I've been asked to look into a temporal anomaly connected to case file 44A. There are some inconsistencies in the paperwork I need to clarify. Daniel and Bob looked at each other. What kind of inconsistencies? Bob said. Gerald spread several documents on the table. He studied them for a moment with the expression of a man who had studied them many times already and found them no less confusing each time. The original case, he said carefully, references a MasterNet Identity Agreement, version 12, specifically a clause on page 417 regarding non-acceptance protocols. He paused. That clause doesn't appear in the current version of the agreement. Huh, said Daniel. Furthermore, Gerald continued, the charges associated with Case 44A reference enforcement powers that don't appear to exist in the current regulatory framework. That's interesting, said Bob. Gerald looked at him. You were the asset, he said. I was called Bob, Bob said. From 1982 onward. Gerald wrote something down. The file indicates you were deployed to 1980 and failed to return through the extraction point. That's accurate. May I ask why? Bob considered this. The 20-year-old version of me wasn't really a useful target, he said. And I had some time to think about things. And there was a hardware store. Gerald wrote this down also, with the careful handwriting of someone who had learned that writing things down didn't make them make more sense, but at least created a record that the nonsense had occurred. He looked at his folder again, then at the documents, then at the two men across from him. As far as I can determine, he said, there is currently nothing in the regulatory framework under which either of you can be prosecuted. The underlying agreement has changed. The enforcement mechanism doesn't exist in its original form. He paused. I would suggest keeping a low profile, not because you're legally obligated to, just as general advice. We're on a road trip, Daniel said. That seems fine. Gerald closed the folder. He sat there for a moment with the particular stillness of a man who had followed a thread through a very large amount of paperwork and arrived somewhere completely unexpected and was now taking stock before deciding what to do next. Mr. Holloway, Bob said. Yes. What's the most decadent thing on the menu? Gerald looked up, looked at the menu on the wall, looked back at his folder, set the folder down. I have no idea what I'm going to put in this report, he said. That sounds like a problem for later, Daniel said. Gerald looked at the menu again for a long moment. The French toast has bacon and a caramel situation, he said, apparently. That, Bob said. Definitely that. Gerald flagged down the waitress. Outside the Pacific kept doing what it always did. Kronos Compliance Division, case, closure, incident. 44A. Resolution, anomaly confirmed, nature, unresolvable with current filing framework, underlying agreement, amended, enforcement mechanism, revised, original charges, unsupported by current regulatory structure, customer status, traveling, Highway 1, northbound, low profile, maintained, asset status, answers to Bob, whereabouts, same highway, same vehicle. Auditor status, G. Holloway, consumed French toast, filed expense report, requested reassignment to Andromeda backlog, request approved. Mr. Holloway is advised that the Andromeda backlog is larger than previously indicated. Mr. Holloway has not responded to this notification. Back in the apartment, the computer on the desk had been on the whole time. The screensaver cycled quietly, mountains, then fish, then mountains again. Then it stopped. A window appeared, software update available, revised terms of service. Accept, decline. The cursor blinked. The apartment was empty, nobody home. Vicious planets. The future is strange. The paperwork is exactly the same. Next transmission. Pending authorization. Please accept updated broadcast terms to continue.